Gearheads know that some projects need so many parts, it feels like you need a whole storage unit just to store them. That's what eBay Motors' 122 million parts are for. Think of it as your virtual parts garage. They've always got the right fitment at the right prices. Use the eBay Motors app or visit ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Holidays are here, and so is fashionable fitness. Gift yourself a Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3 5G, a phone that folds in half to literally stand on its own. Pair it with the Galaxy Watch 4 for ultimate wellness and wow factor. Check health stats, flex personal records. Over 90 activities can be tracked, like biking, swimming, golfing, and more. Invest in yourself with tech made to crush goals. Holidays open up with Galaxy. Shop it all at Samsung.com. 5G connection and availability may vary. Check with carrier. Products sold separately.
Hey everyone, this is the Almost World Podcast. Bringing to you mind-blowing interviews with guests from all over the world. So settle down, relax, and enjoy the show. Oh yeah, by the way, if you like the podcast, please support Almo's World Podcast on Patreon. Your support is what helps the podcast improve more and more. Melissa Hahn. She is a single mom with 3 kids. She is from Columbus, Ohio, and originally from Colorado. Now, she currently works as in the property management, and you could say that she's one of the landlords that keeps annoying you to pay the rent. And she does a lot of reading and writing and loves the outdoors. So, Melissa, I want to get a deeper grasp of what you believe. And so, do you affiliate yourself with any belief system?
Right now, I want to find something to believe in, but I can't believe in anything. It just isn't happening. Like, I'm looking for things, but nothing, nothing, like, proves itself. Even no matter how much I try to, like, seek it out and investigate further, and it just doesn't. Okay,
so it seems to me that you're either in more of a atheistic or agnostic, right?
Yeah, I want to, but like, I'm open-minded. Like, I want something to believe in. Like, I want to believe in supernatural things, and I want to believe in spiritual things, but I just have no reason to.
Okay. So, how would you put it? Like, what would convince you to believe in something?
It's a good question. See, I've had experiences where most people would probably be convinced of immaterial, dimensions, I guess. But I still am not convinced because I feel like you can explain away anything with science. I really do.
Okay. So but I think that there are a lot of things that science can explain. For example, our free will, or maybe that we subscribe to something we call love or truth, and just the fact that we would want to say the truth all the time, it's something more of a what we call morality, right? So science and morality don't never cooperate well. So I want to ask you then, if you don't believe in anything, I would actually say, in my opinion, that you currently have some temporary belief systems that you might not be aware about, right? So I would like to ask you, okay, so what do you think is good or evil? what dictates good or evil to your in your life?
I believe that there is just so much gray. Um, like you can't just say that a person is bad or that a thing is bad. There are definitely some bad things like rape is bad. Like there's some things that are definitely bad, but not any one thing is one or the other, really. Typically.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it means that you're saying that in many cases, good can also be evil, right? For example, in a scenario where a man or a policeman needs shoots a let's say a criminal, right? So it's evil for him to kill him, but it's also right for him to protect innocent civilians. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so like even if I think that intentions are what that boils down to, because if somebody makes a mistake but something bad comes of it, or if somebody has bad intentions, like it just, what am I saying? Um, do you mind rephrasing that?
Okay. So here is how I would put it. Like for example, you have told me what you think is right and wrong. So you think that most or all of it is very gray areas, and some are very very clear to be evil, like rape. And so is actually a moral statement in and of itself, right? That because that this scenario or this act is both good and evil in or gray, right? That's already a moral statement. And so you would have to find something to base that on. So why do you think it's gray? Why do you think it's good? It's both good and evil in many ways.
I guess it's because of the way that I was raised and where I grew up and my whole life path, everything that I've learned in my life. So what's good to me and what's bad to me might not be the same else. There are so many different like shades of perspective that I think every human on this planet has, and there's no way that we can all see things the same way.
Okay. So what you told me is that your morality is based on social constructs. What I mean by that is that what people have told you in your life, or how the environment has formed your own morality or your experiences, it's all social constructs. And if you have had been born in other places or have had different experiences, you would have had a very very different standard of morality today, right?
Perhaps, but I do think that for the most part, you know, you meet anybody in the world and they all seem to know the difference between what's right and wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I think so too.
It might be an innate knowledge.
Mm-hmm. But do you think it's innate or inherent?
I do.
Okay. So
I do, except for in. Oh, sorry.
Okay. So what do you mean by except? What's except for what?
Well, okay. So in the cases of like sociopaths who just, I mean, it's hard for me to fathom what like kind of perspective that a sociopathic like serial killer would have, but they seem to not have those defined,
But
like,
it could also be that yeah, I get it. So stating the premise that if psychopaths did have an innate standard of morality, but they might just actually continue to disobey that. So it's really irrelevant if they do have an inherent morality, right? So this is my question though. So why do you think it's inherent or innate in every person?
well, I just maybe I just want to believe that. But because I don't have any concrete like evidence, that's not something anybody can have evidence for. But um, I want to believe that humans are, oh my gosh, are naturally good, you know, but that the world and experiences often, you know, taint their um, goodness, you know. But then again, listen, I was born and raised a Mormon, so there are lots of things that were fed to me when I was a really really young person. So um, I I'm fully aware that like there's a lot that I probably still keep in my mind from what I was, you know, from when I was a kid, from what I learned back then. So even though I'm not one now, and I don't agree with any any organized religions really, as far as um, you know, following them the way that they do.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then it seems to me that um, you strayed away from being a Mormon, and that religious experience or childhood experience made you separate from almost all spiritual forms of belief or systems of belief, right?
Perhaps it definitely steered me away from all religion, all organized religion. As far as spirituality goes, um, I experienced more um, profound experiences spiritually after I left than while I was in that church. But like I said before, even though I experienced that, um, I still think that it's explainable with, you know, chemicals in my brain or, you know, whatever.
Yeah. So I would ask you this question then. Can you tell us more about you being a Mormon before and what made you leave it?
Yeah, sure. So youngest of four daughters. Um, my parents, neither one were born Mormon. They both were like converted in. Um, like so my mom was converted when she was a really young child, but my dad, he found the Mormon faith or LDS or whatever when he was in his 20s, and they met at the church. And then um, anyhow, they got married, had four kids, and um, I I'm the youngest of all the four, and I don't know, just within my daily life, I always felt sort of like an outsider because not only was I Mormon, but I was also homeschooled. So I was an outsider even in my church that I went to. So like while all the kids at that church like all went to the same school, I was just, you know, even an outsider there. So um I've always had that kind of perspective, like looking that way, because of it. So I when I first decided that I didn't believe in any of the teachings or any of the, the things that they were trying to, like, not trying, but teaching kids at a very young age in that church. I was 8, and the bishop of the ward that we were in asked me if I wanted to be baptized, and the thought occurred to me that I have a choice to be baptized. I don't actually have to. So for me, it was like a light bulb went off. Like, all this time I had thought that, like, if it's true, if this church is true, then why do I have to? Why do I get to make a choice? It's kind of a deep concept to try to explain, but from that point, I continued to, like, participate in everything like a good kid, but couldn't wait for the day to leave. To be honest. Couldn't wait. So. In my high school years. Yeah. And I do know that, like, having been raised a Mormon and then leaving, I know it's a really common thing with a lot of ex-Mormons too, is that they can't find anything after that. It's like they're jaded, they can't find anything else after that. So I try not to keep that in my mind as while I search, but I'm still applying, my skepticism to everything.
So it seems to me that you left the Mormon Church for I think very very personal reasons. I would assume that it didn't seem to be something that gave you spiritual or religious experiences. It was simply an organized institution where people presumed. Yeah. Okay, so
yes, because I always had a hard time, like, following the herd, like, I could try to sit and explain to you example by example of, like, how like certain things made me feel as I was, like, sitting there internalizing everything, just watching people, like, when they would go up to, like, what they call bear their testimony, where they go up every Sunday. They have to, like, tell everyone why they know the church is true. And if you don't go up there, then you're probably doubting. And if you're doubting, then you probably need some attention and you need some help. And it's just felt, looking at it now, it just feels like a cult. Let's just be honest.
Okay. This is how I would put it then. You seem to be very, very good and critical-minded when it comes to looking at things, and especially in a way analyzing and criticizing many belief systems. That's why I think you keep searching, because you're still looking for a set of answers that just hits right. And so I don't think that you really want to be an atheist or agnostic, but you're just a normal person trying to find the truth. And if there is truth in these in a religion, if there is one true religion, then I think you would be welcome to and open to to accept it. Yeah. And Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So this is an option that I would give you. How about I try to offer you a belief system, and you ask me questions about it. Like you can be critical minded and ask me why, and why do that. Okay, so I would tell you that I was born a Christian, and so I would say that I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. And this is very interesting to say that what does Lord and Savior mean? Because in being a Mormon, I don't think that you really have a deep understanding of that, because the Christian concepts are a little bit different, you know.
Possibly there are some differences, even though the LDS, they say that they're Christians because they center their religion around Jesus, but there's just they put the Book of Mormon above the Bible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I would ask you this: that what do you think Lord means?
What I was always taught was that it is just the person who oversees everything, or deity, not person, but.
Okay, so I think it's very specific when you say Lord. People back in the back in the past also called people lords, like in feudalism. You are a lord of this land, so you're right. You're an overseer or a master. So if you put it that way, if you look at Jesus Christ as your Lord, that means that you are His servant. So there is a relationship that occurs there, that I accept myself as a servant and Jesus Christ is my Lord. Yeah, okay. So, and the next relationship there is Savior. So what do you think Savior means?
A person, not person. I keep saying person. This deity that will save you from all of the sins that you haven't made yet. or that you I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh.
Yeah, it's no problem. Yeah, okay. So you're right in a way, that it's more of that the humanity has inherited this what you call original sin from Adam, and so even children, or every single human being who is descended from Adam has descended from this original sin, because the original sin, it's more of a disconnection than an action, because for example, Adam in the Garden of Eden, as you can see in Genesis, he was in a way a perfect human being that was completely what God wanted him to be, right? He was designed as he is, but he was not broken, he was not fallen. And that is why I think that you know that there is a goodness, or innate and inherent goodness, in every human being. But the problem is that we're broken humans. We are fallen creation. And that is why there are...
I honestly think that it's an innate characteristic of all life. I mean, even animals have a respect for each other, I think.
Yeah, but when you mean respect, do you mean that when a lion eats a gazelle, he respects the gazelle in a way?
He eats it because he has to, but it's only if they absolutely need to eat. I mean, it's for a purpose. It's because that's the way it's
but it could be that designed. He could, yeah, but it could be that he just wanted to be full. Overindulgence. A lion can do that. So is there a respect in that?
Well, because of the fact that um, the lion has to eat to survive, and it doesn't have other things in its consciousness that humans have. I don't blame the lion.
Okay, so you're saying that it's just that the lion has an incapacity to do otherwise, or to be better, so he's doing what he can to survive. Okay, so but then why do you think that it's normal for lions to be that way, or is it just because of evolution? What do you think?
Absolutely do think that it's normal. Well, what other way would they be? What other way have all animals been on this planet for, millennia?
Well, when we go back to Genesis, we could see that there was actually no death at all in creation. That we were all meant to live eternal lives, and that was the original plan. That when you see that Adam was meant to eat the fruit of the tree of life, but he was never able to do that, and God stopped him and Eve from eating it because they ate the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So it's really clear in the Bible that God's original plan was to allow humanity to live forever, because that's what he wanted to do. Death is something that is actually not natural to us. That's why it's sad. And it's actually sad to see nature, being like this, killing, suffering. And so in a way,
and so they have to put a tremendous amount of guilt on humans who didn't actually do anything wrong. They were just born. They didn't ask to be born. And yet somehow, from the moment that we're born...
Okay, then that's a really good point there. So this is how I would actually say that. Because what I think is that God looks at humanity not just as an individual, but as a whole as well. That in a way, every human being is not separate at all. Because in fact, I would say that you are your mother and your father's cells continuing to live on. Only that you're a combination, right? So in a way that there is no break in the line of life, right? So from Adam to Eve, in a way, Adam is still and Eve are still alive in all of us, and that is why there is a connection. And in Revelations, God sees humanity as His bride, and Jesus as the groom. And in the end, we would be in great in a way the church and will be married, or be foreverly be happy in forever. So it's really a good story. And actually, if you look at it, it might feel like a science fiction, but well, it could be in your terms, but it could actually also be the truth. Just because something is absurd doesn't mean it's not true, right? Okay, so going back to the Savior here, Jesus Christ would have to be your Lord and Savior. You would have to identify Him as that. But then that there is the problem here, that what do we have to be saved for, right? You're right, that what did these unborn humans do to deserve such a punishment that they haven't even done yet? So I would like to ask your opinion on that. Why do you think people say that?
Based on what you're telling me our very very first ancestors ate some fruit off of a tree that they weren't supposed to. So that's why we're damned. I mean, if we're speaking literally, which is the way that you know, that I see it, if we're speaking literally, I'm trying to picture like what exactly that was. What did that look like? You know, when they had the choice to either eat fruit from the tree of life or eat fruit from the tree of knowledge. How did that look? What was actually going on? You know, is this just are these just metaphors? If they are, then what are they metaphors of? I just want to know. And is it so wrong to just want to know? Because nobody has the answers.
Yeah, exactly. But then, I think that if you really want to pursue the truth, in a way, you would actually try to learn or try to fully understand what the message of each belief system, or maybe Christians or Muslim or Eastern religions have, that they might actually have something that you think is, or you might agree with, right? So when it comes to
right, but all of those, sorry to cut you off, all of those religions require you to just take a leap of faith, is what they call it. You have to have faith. So you have to put 100% trust in God and just trust it. Just believe what we're telling you because it's for you. Okay, well, in that case, if it's for me, then why are you requiring me to pay 10% of my income every month? And tithing.
well, okay, but did you know that tithings is voluntary? That you could decide not to pay.
Absolutely. Yes, it is voluntary. Yes, it is. It is. Just the same way that like getting up every right, just the same way as like in the church that I grew up in, it's not mandatory for you to get up and bear your testimony every Sunday. And it's not required for you to actually stay in the church. But, you know, if you leave, then you don't get certain privileges, or you don't get, I mean, not all religions are that way. And probably Christians are not as they don't really shun people when they leave, whereas, you know, like Amish and Mormon and Muslim, I'm sure they all do that. It's just, that's the point where it gets frustrating. Organized religion turns into this exactly that, just an organized way to control people. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I definitely don't deny that there are organized religions who do that, and it's, in a way, it's wrong, you know. But then just because it's okay, but just because 99% of religions are, in a way, are flawed in your perspective, doesn't mean that the 1% that could be the right religion for you, or it might be the most ethical religion for you, could be there, right? I think you just have to find it. Yeah. So you could ask me questions, you know, and if you think that my stance is wrong, feel free to say that. Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to go back to the topic of saving, or of faith, right? You mentioned, why do we need to take a leap of faith? Well, this is really interesting because in my view, that would work in this way. Because if God gave you everything you needed to know in order to believe in Him, do you think that you actually decided to follow him and love him because you knew he was real, or because you knew that he was God, and he actually could be someone you could love for eternally? Did you if you know for certain that he is real, would you love him because you would just want to go to heaven, or that would you love him because he is God and he is perfect, and he loves you and you love him?
So are you asking me which reason I would choose?
Yeah.
Or I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I was asking, which would be better, knowing 100% that God is real, or believing, or having this buffer, or I would say a test of faith, to know that you would actually have a relationship with him, not because you just want to go to heaven, but because you know who God really is?
I would just like to know. That's all that I care about. But see, the teaching also comes along with so much more, because they say, well, if you don't accept salvation, then you have damnation. If you don't accept that this is true, then you're going to hell.
Yeah. Okay. So let us put it this way. That God created human beings because, and the special thing about human beings is that we have free will, right? We are free to decide whether we would believe in God or in anything at all. And that makes us, in a way, having power over reality itself. That we are able to determine our own paths. And the Arminian view in that is that God simply allows us to decide for ourselves, and he lets us do that because he loves us, and that we are free to be who we are. And so that would be my explanation to why there would be hell and damnation. Because if you were given free will to believe in him, then it was your decision and your accountability to whatever fate that you would have chosen.
So the randomization of, a baby being born and then just dying right away, or I'm going to use the argument, if God is if he loves us, then why do so many people who don't deserve so much pain have to suffer? And they're just born into it, and they don't have any other way out. They're not given any kind of that nobody comes to them and tries to teach them anything about God, and they die. There's so many situations where I feel like it is in my face that it's just random. It can't just be all planned out if this God is so loving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what do you think a loving God would do? Would he just erase everything else and just do it again? Do you think that would be a better case, to just Adam just messed up, and Adam and Eve messed up, okay, so I'm just gonna delete them and make it again?
Well, didn't he try to do that with the flood? Apparently.
No, the flood was very different, because Noah and his family were still humanity. and a lot of people would actually say that the flood was simply a local flood and not the whole world. The local flood was more of a preparation for the future, I would say. And that the Noah and his family took took animals into the ark for their own survival.
Right, because God was so disgusted by the way that humans were, and he but God was disgusted. He was absolutely done with the way that humans were being, but there was only one guy and his family who were good enough to carry on humanity. So that's why he wiped everyone out with a flood. And I don't know whether or not it was local or not. I really honestly don't even really believe the story, but everybody theorizes about all of the Bible stories, what they actually mean and whatnot. So if it's up for interpretation, then okay.
Yeah, you're right. But then this is what I would say. For me, I actually believe that the Bible, the Genesis, is more of a metaphorical. Yeah. So it was.
And why is that? I think that's one of the most angering things about it, is that why does it have to be so metaphorical? Why can't it just give you the knowledge that you need to believe, instead of making you say, okay, well, I don't know if this is true, but I'm just going to believe it anyway.
Yeah. Well, if you ask me, this is how I would answer that. I would say that the Bible was written by humans, but there could have been a divine inspiration for it, but it is the Old Testament is Judaism, the text of Judaism. So it was originally for the cultural and society of Jews, and so they developed myths and stories that they would tell generations from maybe Abraham or before, and that's how they developed the story of Adam and Eve and everything before Abraham. So I would say that when it comes to being metaphorical, everything before Abraham would be metaphorical because they are verbal stories. So you would have to understand that as well. Yeah, but I get your point that why is it so ambiguous? Why can't he just show up in the sky and say, "Well, look, I'm God, I'm real." Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So how I would answer that is that he still requires a faith, that because this is the I think that would be
I just don't have time for it. I'm sorry, but like I said, just like why can't there just be something that gets just straight to the point? Like, this is it. There's all this like running around and like going around, beating around the bush. Oh, but this actually means that, and that actually means this.
So so this is
Sorry,
what
I just have a busy life, so I don't have time for that shit.
Yeah, I no problem. I get it. Yeah, but so this is how I would put it. Let's just end this topic with a question that why does God require faith for his to believe in him? And it's a really really good question that even I actually struggle with. Yeah, and so I would also ask you another question because it's really interesting to get to know you, Melissa. When it comes to American politics, where do you land?
I don't have a label. I don't like labels, so I don't have like. I mean, people like to label me based on what I tell them that I believe in or whatever, but that's fine. I could care less. I I just think that if there is a way to just treat people right, then let's just do that. Why does there have to be so much, you know, mistreatment of people? And then, there's so most people would just say I'm probably a liberal or something because I care about people.
Yeah, but do you think it's necessary though to control the riots and the looting?
Yeah, because those business owners, they don't deserve that, They don't deserve to have they have nothing to do with anything, and yet their stuff is being destroyed, and, it's not cool.
Yeah, so you think that what the government is doing to control these riots is necessary to protect the business owners and keep the peace?
When you look at it, like, the reason why people are looting is because of those police. It just is very contradictory, and there needs to be some other answer, I think, because it's just, it's like a war when it gets to that point.
Okay, so it's a war between who?
Well, peaceful people who just want to stop being murdered. And a trained force that uses overkill for no reason other than just because they can. So that's the way that I see it. I think it's just a systemic problem within the police force. They just need to, at least in America, they need to change a lot of the way that they get their training. I think it starts in the academy. They have to. Oh no. I think they should be required to learn certain things and cut some things out of their training, because if they're going to go out onto the street and assume that everybody is guilty no matter what, which is their mindset, then they're not for us. They're just not. I do think that a lot of... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. I was very curious then. So, who are you gonna vote for then in that case? Because it seems that you see that it's necessary to protect and keep the peace, but it's also wrong to do it in a very excessive way, right?
Yeah. So, I didn't vote for Trump, but that probably do that. And I will not again. I will not vote for Trump. If he runs again, I think he is. I'm not even paying attention, honestly. Who's the other candidate? Biden. It's Biden. I don't like his creepiness. I don't want him to be our president. He creeps me out. And I am fully aware of my my reasoning for choosing a political candidate. I know I'm using my emotions to make a decision. I'm aware of that. And that's what everyone else in the country does as well. So that's politics. I just personally do not agree with anything that Trump does or says, and I don't agree with anything that he's tweeted constantly. I don't even pay attention. He's a very angering person. I think I was really upset when he was elected, and I tried. I did my part when I voted for Bernie. in the primaries. So I just wish that he could have actually been a candidate. So I'm not going to vote.
Okay.
Long story short, I'm not going to vote.
Okay, that's I would ask you this last question then, because it's been a great conversation with you, and we're almost an hour now. Melissa, being an individual who is a very critical thinker and just keeps searching for the truth, what do you think should an individual do to make a good difference, or maybe change the world to be a better place?
So what I've learned is that the best way to make an impact on others is to just, if you're ever given the opportunity to show that, like, just to show that you care, that you actually give a crap about other people, do it on the most personal level. So not meaning like with your family and friends, because of course we all do that, but if you're ever given the opportunity to give to a stranger or to show kindness to a stranger, do it, because it you never know like what that person is going through. You never know what kind of like impact that will make on them for the rest of their life, if it will. But it doesn't hurt anything, you know. What harm did, being kind to a stranger ever do? And that's an argument that, for some reason, it's actually an argument that people have, that like if you're kind, that it's not a good thing to do, to just be kind. I don't understand. So I just wish that the world did not have as many assholes in it.
So that's the end of it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. This is your host, Elmo Ador Jr. And thank you for listening in. And please subscribe. Please follow us on Facebook. Please follow this. Please. Thanks.
University of Maryland Global Campus has more than 20 years' experience providing affordable online education to military service members and working adults. Offering low tuition, no-cost digital resources replacing most textbooks, scholarships for those who qualify, and more. Learn more at umgc.edu/podcast.
If you're a movie collector, you need Movies Anywhere. It pulls your favorite purchase movies from participating digital retailers into one central place, so you can finally say goodbye to scattered movie collections and hello to an organized library. With Movies Anywhere, you can watch your favorite movies on any compatible device, whenever and wherever you want. Ready to grow and enjoy your digital collection? Visit moviesanywhere.com/welcome and register for free. Registration with Movies Anywhere required. Open to U.S. residents 13 and over.